The certificate in my hand felt insubstantial as tissue paper. The regional business competition award I'd been excited to share now seemed childish. "Useless girl, you were never the bright one," my father's voice carried across the living room, slicing through conversation like a blade. My relatives froze, wine glasses suspended, eyes darting anywhere but at me. The pride I'd felt evaporated, replaced by a familiar hollowness. The floor seemed to tilt beneath my feet as I stood there, exposed. "My name is Olivia Reed. I'm 31 and the founder of a tech startup. This is the story of how I forced my family to finally see me." Growing up in Columbus in the shadow of my brother Nathan had been an exercise in invisibility. Nathan was the golden child. My accomplishments were brushed aside like crumbs from the dinner table. "Dad, I was thinking about expanding the company into—" I began, despite the knot in my stomach. "Olivia, please," my father interrupted. "Your brother just secured $1 million contract. Can we focus on actual success for a moment?" My mother gave me a sympathetic glance, but remained silent. My Aunt Patricia patted my hand and whispered, "Maybe business isn't your thing, dear. You were always so good with your little crafts." Little crafts? My tech startup that had been growing for 3 years was reduced to a hobby in their eyes. I nodded politely and excused myself to the kitchen. My phone buzzed, a text from my business partner, Mia. "Did you tell them about the investor meeting?" I typed back, "Not yet, timing's not right." What I didn't say was that the timing would never be right in this house. My father had decided long ago that I lacked what it took to succeed. Too emotional, he'd say, not strategic enough. And my personal favorite, not CEO material. I rejoined the family gathering with a smile that didn't reach my eyes. Little did they know, this dismissal was fueling something inside me that would soon force them all to see me. The next day, I arrived at our office space in a renovated warehouse. My company, NeuroSync, had started as an idea sketched on napkins during lunch breaks at my former software development job. Now we occupied half a floor with 15 employees and technology making waves in predictive analytics. Mia looked up as I entered. "That bad, huh?" she asked, sliding a coffee toward me. "Same story, different day," I replied. "Nathan secured some contract with the state government, and you'd think he'd solved world hunger. And meanwhile, we're just revolutionizing how businesses understand consumer behavior. Nothing important." "The investor meeting is confirmed for Thursday," she continued. "Westlake Ventures wants to see the new algorithm in action." "When it goes well," I corrected her, "we'll have the capital to scale up and take on Horizon Data directly." Horizon Data was our main competitor, a company that had rejected my job application, suggesting I look into something less technical. That rejection letter still sat in my desk drawer. Back at my childhood home, there were other reminders. Photographs of Nathan receiving awards dominated the mantelpiece. My graduation photo was somewhere in a dusty album, rarely seen. For 3 years, I had lived in a tiny apartment, eating ramen noodles and pouring every dollar back into NeuroSync. I'd started with my own savings and a small business loan, supplemented by an angel investment from a tech mentor I'd met during my time at Columbus Tech Incubator. I worked 18-hour days, all while hearing my father's voice. "Useless girl, you were never the bright one." The conference room at Westlake Ventures felt too warm. I adjusted my blazer and glanced at Mia, who gave me a subtle nod. "As you can see from our projections," I continued, "NeuroSync's algorithm has consistently outperformed market standards by 27%. What this means is an unprecedented level of customer behavior prediction." Gregory Westlake leaned forward. "And your competitors? How does Horizon Data's new platform compare?" Horizon's approach relies on historical data sets. Our algorithm incorporates real-time emotional response indicators. Simply put, they can tell you what customers did yesterday. We can tell you what they'll do tomorrow. 2 hours later, Mia and I stood in the lobby, still in shock. Westlake had not only agreed to invest, they wanted to lead a funding round that would value NeuroSync at $90 million. My phone rang. It was my mother, reminding me about my father's retirement party. "Maybe you can bring those cookies you used to make. Everyone always liked those." The contrast was almost comical. In one moment, I was negotiating a multi-million-dollar deal. In the next, I was being asked to bring cookies to celebrate someone else's success. The week that followed was intense. Days blurred into nights as lawyers drafted agreements and press releases were carefully worded. Thursday morning, Mia burst into my office with a tablet. Forbes, Business Insider, The Wall Street Journal, they're all running the story. My face stared back at me from the Forbes website. The headline read, "Disruptor Alert, Olivia Reed named youngest female CEO in tech after landmark investment deal." My stomach dropped. The announcement wasn't supposed to go public until after I'd had a chance to tell my family in person. I quickly scanned the article. Our PR firm had included my background in the press kit, apparently rushing the release to coincide with a major tech conference happening this week. As if summoned by my thought, my phone began to vibrate with messages. Colleagues, old classmates, distant relatives, all suddenly aware of my success. But nothing from my parents or Nathan. The silence was deafening. After Mia left, I called my parents. My father answered, his voice clipped. "I suppose you think we'd be impressed," he interrupted, "making a show in the business pages." "Dad, I built this company from nothing. No connections, no family support, not even a word of encouragement." "Now you've got your name in some articles. We'll see how long it lasts before reality sets in." The reality is that I'm now the CEO of a $90 million company that's changing the industry. This tech bubble you're writing will burst. Nathan's built something solid, something real. I closed my eyes, suddenly tired of the same old narrative. Sunday arrived warm and clear, a perfect day for an outdoor retirement celebration. I sat in my car outside my parents' home, watching guests arrive, people who had witnessed my relegation to the background over the years. With a deep breath, I stepped out of my new Jaguar F-Type, a congratulatory gift to myself that I'd purchased with a small advance from the investment deal that had closed just yesterday. The sleek vehicle was not subtle, nor was it meant to be. As I retrieved a small, elegantly wrapped package, I felt eyes turning in my direction. Cousin Drew stopped mid-conversation, his mouth slightly open. "Is that Olivia?" I handed him the keys. "Mind parking it for me? The driveway is getting crowded." My mother spotted me first, her greeting freezing as she took in my appearance. Gone was the practical daughter they were used to. Today I wore a tailored cream suit with a bold blue silk blouse, designer heels, and jewelry that quietly spoke of success. "Olivia," she managed, "you look different." I approached my father at the grill. "Dad," I said, extending the small package, "happy retirement." He turned, his expression unreadable. He accepted the gift with a nod but made no move to open it. "You didn't need to bring anything," he said stiffly. "I wanted to," I replied, maintaining eye contact. As I walked away, I heard one of his friends say, "Bob, isn't that your daughter who's been in the news? The CEO?" Nathan and his wife Jennifer watched me approach with poorly concealed surprise. "Quite an entrance, sis," Nathan said. "Nice car." Jennifer cut in. "We read about your company. It's very impressive. Why didn't you tell anyone what you were working on all these years?" "I did," I answered simply, "many times. No one was interested in listening." Nathan shifted uncomfortably, clearly remembering the family dinners where my attempts to discuss my business were brushed aside. "Well, we're all certainly interested now," Jennifer continued. "Everyone's talking about that valuation, $90 million. I noticed heads turning at nearby tables when she said the figure. Whispers spread like ripples in a pond. "Thank you," I said. "It's been a long road, but the technology is revolutionary." Nathan cleared his throat. "I'd love to hear more about it sometime. My company might even be interested in implementing something like that." The irony wasn't lost on me. 3 years ago, I'd approached Nathan about a potential partnership. He had declined, suggesting I focus on something more established first. "I'll have my assistant reach out," I replied, the polite corporate response coming easily now. As the afternoon progressed, the dynamic shifted palpably. Relatives who had previously gravitated toward Nathan now sought me out, asking about NeuroSync, about what it was like to be featured in Forbes, about my secrets to success. My father remained by the grill, watching this transformation of his usually overlooked daughter with an unreadable expression. He had still not opened my gift, a custom-engraved watch bearing the inscription, "To New Beginnings. Love, Olivia." Eventually, my father tapped his glass for attention. He began with anecdotes from his years as an engineer, then turned to family acknowledgments. And of course, I'm proud of my children. Nathan, who's making his mark at Hamilton Financial, recently promoted to vice president. A polite round of applause followed. And Olivia, my father continued, his voice faltering slightly, who apparently has been quietly building something none of us fully understood. The yard was silent now, the tension palpable. I always said she was the emotional one, he added with a small laugh. It seems I may have underestimated how far that emotional intelligence could take her. It wasn't an apology, not even close, but it was the first public acknowledgement from my father that he might have been wrong about me. As glasses were raised, I saw something new in many eyes: respect. As the night progressed, I found a moment alone with my father. He stood at the edge of the yard, nursing a whiskey. "You haven't opened your gift," I said. He looked at me, really looked at me, perhaps for the first time in years. I wanted to wait until it was quieter. "So," he said finally, "CEO? Yes. Of a $90 million company? Yes. And the youngest woman to do it, according to those articles? That's what they say." A long pause followed. "I don't understand it," he admitted. "This tech stuff. In my day, business was straightforward." "You don't need to understand the technology, Dad. Just understand that I built something valuable, something lasting." He nodded slowly, then gestured toward the front of the house. "That car? That's quite a statement." "It wasn't meant to be a statement. It was meant to be a reward for years of hard work." "Still," he said, his voice lower, "pulling up like that after all those articles, you knew what you were doing." "Yes," I admitted, "I did." 2 months later, with our funding secure and expansion plans underway, NeuroSync's new headquarters opened in downtown Columbus. To my surprise, my entire family attended the ribbon-cutting ceremony. My mother hugged me tightly. "We're so proud of you, Olivia. I'm sorry if we didn't show it before." Nathan approached next. "This is incredible, sis. I had no idea this was what you were building." "That's because you never asked," I replied, but without the bitterness that would have colored such a statement months ago. My father stood near the entrance, taking in the sleek architecture. He wore the watch I had given him, a small gesture, but significant. I walked over to him. "Thank you for coming." He nodded. "Wouldn't have missed it." "You know, Dad, all those times you called me useless, told me I wasn't the bright one. It hurt, but it also pushed me to prove you wrong." He looked at me, his expression a complex mix of pride and regret. "You certainly did that." "Yes," I agreed, "I did." And in that moment, standing in the building that bore my company's name, surrounded by the empire I had built, I finally felt free of the need for his approval. I was Olivia Reed, CEO, visionary, and architect of my own success, and no one would ever call me useless again.